Hello, my name is Percival Plod, and welcome to the Naval Sports League. For our first time watchers, the Naval Sports League, or the NSL for short, is the ultimate naval competition in the game of Holdfast Nations at War. League battles are simple. Two teams, each led by a single admiral, pilot five large capital ships and two small support boats, with the goal of sinking as many capital ships as they can within 35 minutes. Whoever sinks the most wins, and if there's a tie, we decide the winner by overall score. Teams consist of anywhere between 20 and 40 players, and the league provides mercenaries to balance out any number disparities between each teams. Every player in the league, be they a team player or a mercenary, is competing hard for end of season awards and accolades. Every battle will take place on a randomly chosen map with randomly chosen wind directions. Both of these factors means that no two battles will ever be the same. The league lasts for 9 months from late February to November, with 3 games a month for you to enjoy. Once the main season is over, the top 3 teams of the league will duke it out to determine who wins the champion's crown. The NSL is a collection of Holdfast's most talented admirals, officers, and crews, and the tactical gameplay you will see here is at a higher level than anything else this game has to offer. We hosts and co-hosts will be here for the entire battle to help you understand the decisions and strategies you'll see play out in the NSL Coliseum. So, without further ado, let's get into the pre-game coverage. We have finally made it. Last week, of course, we had the semi-finals, in which we had both the Jackals versus the Marines, and then we had obviously the SCP and the Krakens. But this week we are finally on to the grand finals, and we'll be starting off this week with the lower bracket, which we brought to yourself by myself and by Kieran's from the Marines last week, and they will be playing the Royal Black Fleet and the Jackals today. We'll be playing for our lower bracket grand final. So let's go to you here, Kieran. What do you think exactly is going to be the? How is it going to look today? Obviously, the Jackals, you faced them last week. Tell us about them. What are they about, and how are they going to do against the Royals today?
Well, I really like both teams as the underdogs. They're looking very well, and they have some really good players and some really strong tactics. I honestly believe we're going to see a lot of gunboat action today, especially from the Jackals. They're notorious for their gunboat work. So, and on this map as well, it's perfect for that sort of flanking maneuver from both teams. So it could go either way, but some top players on each team. We've got obviously Splunker, who is one of the admirals of the fleet. He's a fantastic captain as well. But then the Jackals have Ranger and Fallacion. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not sure. But yeah, both really strong captains and equally good admirals. So yeah.
So, with the Jackals versus the Royal Black Fleet today, we're looking at a match that's going to be one of those ones that, from the Jackals' perspective, if they get into that range of sort of 200 meters to 100 meters and allow boarding action to happen, we know there's going to be that sort of case of the Jackals more than likely are going to be chopping down masts. They are
Yeah.
notorious for having their little beaver squadron, and certainly under sort of Piet and stuff like that. That's really been sort of the mainstay for their season, to sort of take that sort of practice and run with it. But with Fallacion here today, I wasn't sure if he admiral necessarily last week, but I think they're going to probably hopefully try and stick a bit more to the basics, the fundamentals of what we know as naval, to try and get the win. And it's actually quite funny that in this season, not only do they have the same seasonal record, they also have the same all-time matchup. They've both lost to each other in the NSL this season. So
Yeah.
this is a really interesting match because by the looks of it and on paper, they are dead even.
Yeah.
This could go either way. If you were to vote for someone, Kieran's, who today would be your choice to come out on top?
Well, obviously we faced both teams quite recently, and I think the tougher enemy were probably the Jackals. They seemed a little bit more organized, and as we fought them last week or the week before, I'm a big fan of their, as you said, Beaver squad. So it was really the deciding factor on why we lost is getting our mass chopped down and just having to deal with blunderbuss after blunderbuss. So my money's on the Jackals.
I look, I as much as I love the Jackals, and all season I think I've said it. I think they are my favorite team to watch and to play. Like no matter what, you never know exactly where something's going to happen with them. If they can't get over the early period of their match, I think, which I think is probably the weakest part of their game, is that sort of first 5 to 10 minutes of the match. If they can't get over that necessarily, I think the Royals are going to eat them alive. The most planning and stuff happens within that 5 to 10 minutes, and the Royals have had, for the most part of the season, I feel, a better start to that, but they lack the sort of middle to end closing out parts of the game.
Yeah.
But with that in mind, let's head over to this map preview so we can actually have a look and see exactly what's going to go on. So, from my perspective, this is a map with two sort of dualities to it. You have the option to go and hide in those little islands and make it quite difficult for your opposition to come and get you, or you can go take it out straight into the open ocean and have a giant brawl with the wind direction sort of facing north, so I suppose that's from viewers' sake, it's going to be from the leftmost with the islands to the right side. That's where the wind will be facing, Kieran. What
Yeah.
do you think things are going to go end up like? If you were to put it on paper and judge it from what we know of these teams all season, both of us playing them plenty of times, how are we thinking it's going to go?
Well, last week when we faced the Jackals, they went against the wind, and both teams went against the wind. So I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of having neutral winds because it means that both teams could do anything really. But I think the Jackals and the Royals are probably going to go into the islands, go against the wind, and then have that advantage of pushing through the north and getting a bit of a speed boost. But I think it'd be quite daring if one of the fleets went with the wind initially. They'd be out in the open and they're sort of exposed to that southern getting back into the southern wind, which is totally against them. What do you think?
I think you have my sort of school of thought when I played down this map is that even if you come from sort of the spawning points from north to from I suppose in this case east to west, if you take that sort of line, you have a 2/3 like wind anyway because you're not going directly into the wind or against
Yeah,
it, so you can use it to gain map pressure. I think having more central pressure in this case is probably going to be the most sort of useful thing. And I have only just realised, in terms of the admirals, that I don't think we've seen the Doctor admiral for the RBF this season. It's mostly been Gilly, but it looks like that the Doctor has come in to take this one. So I am
yeah,
interested to see how the Doctor is going to take that. I don't know if it's necessarily something that is a starting sort of position for him normally, but obviously, hopefully, he'll have a good opportunity for that going
yeah.
forward.
I mean, he's got the experience for sure. With him being in the 26th, a very prestigious um, regiment. I think that they're likely going to do well, and they're going to be organised just as they were when we faced them.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So, if I am not mistaken, on the British side, we will be having. It looks like it's going to be our friends up here with the was it the RBF? And on the French side, it's going to be the Jackals of the Baltic Sea. Now, I think we've seen the Jackals on this map before. I've probably seen most of them on this map before, but certainly this I've seen personally up close and personal the Jackals on this map. And when we faced them last time, they didn't have the wind in their favor, and they literally went and sat hiding. Not necessarily hiding, that's the wrong word, but they sort of sat close to the arena wall and let them come to us. Now, I don't think with the wind this time it's going to happen, but it's just something curious that I'd be keeping close in mind because the Jackals have done it this season and to great effect. So let's keep that in mind.
Yeah,
Um, what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a quick look over here and just have a look to see what people are running in terms of the gunboats. And it looks like the RBF are going to be running with 2 gunboats. And I'm going to quickly have a peek over to the Jackals to see what we're getting over here in terms of our run for our money over here.
Yeah.
And it looks like, as well over here, for the Jackals of the Baltic Sea, they are running with one gunboat at the moment. I
One rocket
can't
boat.
see. Oh yes, and they are running with a rocket boat. So I think you were correct bringing out sort of that assumption of the fact that they are going to be running with something a little bit tricky. And we've seen this strategy come out as well to great effect with another one of the teams that I've admired a lot this season in the SCP-38, who are going to be on very shortly with Leviathans in our grand final of the NSL season. But this is the lower bracket final. This is to decide who ends up as fourth place or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So I
Yeah.
am interested to see how that's going to turn out today. So we're discussing a little bit how this is going to go. If you were either one of these teams, are you gonna are you gonna be the type of person who's gonna rush out of spawn and sort of, as someone might put it or quote it, either goes balls to the wall or Leroy Jenkins it, or are you gonna take it as a slow, methodical sort of match for this one? Because it might catch the enemy unawares. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, look, you're asking me. My track record is we always go balls to the wall. So,
I
well,
mean,
if
that's fair. I should have seen that one coming.
it is the finals, so maybe there would have been some hesitation and look at the defensive play, but
Hmm.
both fleets are moving out now, so we're going to see which type of formation we're going to get and how quickly they're going to get a line of attack going. It looks to me like the Jackals are going full abreast to start.
That's
Um,
not exactly a bad idea, having a line abreast here, although it looks quite crowded for what I would normally call a line abreast. Perhaps they're looking to maybe start turning shortly.
yeah.
Certainly the 13 gun from them and the other two ships look like it. But it looks like one ship is also splitting off on its own. So
Oh,
potentially, I don't know whether they're going to be looking to keep three on the inside, two on the outside, or something like that. But a little bit different, and it looks like for us in the RBF, they have stopped moving or
they
they're getting ready to
have.
set their sails. Maybe it's let them gain map pressure, see what happens from there. Interesting.
Maybe the
Um,
sailors haven't been paid, so they're going on strike.
Absolutely. Well, but potentially they have. Who knows? Yeah. Look, I mean, I don't even think we have a captain on their helm there on the 13 gun. By the looks of it, there doesn't seem to be anyone taking hold of that at the moment. Um, there
Say,
is certainly someone that Splunker is definitely on one of the 8 guns there, but the 13 gun seems to be unmanned presently by a captain. It looks like a rifleman has taken over for the moment there. A little bit interesting.
yeah.
But look,
The great thing about the maps though is they're so big and you're
yes.
able to make it even if you end up taking the time with getting the captains on board the fleets and such. I
Hmm.
think that it's a great opportunity to reorganize, make sure all the captains are on your ships, and then start moving out. You don't really have to worry about the enemy fleet coming straight at you. You've got that time to form up and really get with it.
Absolutely. It does look like at the moment, though, that they are bringing in the jackals over here. Have obviously split their fleet in half here, in twine, as one may put it. But it looks like they are perhaps potentially going to look to reform shortly. It looks like the Doctor has finally made it. Whether he's going to be piloting the capital ship here and sailing it, it does look like now that they have finally got what was it their captain on the helm. The sails have been set off. So it looks like it's going to be setting off right now. Still not much movement here in terms of much from the RBF. Some ships certainly taking their side around the island here, but they haven't set off all of their fleet, and that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
More space though has been taken here by the Jackals. Do you think that's going to play maybe necessarily something that's going to play it off a bit more for them, or a
I
little
th
bit less?
I think you're right here. The space is looking quite nice. Well, like I said before, they've still got time to form up and get ready
Hmm.
for the initial attack. I don't really know where the Jackals are going with this 2-8 gun formation here, but it's quite exciting because every team does something different at the start, so it's quite refreshing. See something new. I wonder if both teams are going to try and maintain their 13 guns integrity or not. I know what
Potentially.
we have a habit of full sending our 13 gun, hoping it's going to deliver some fatal blows. That's just us.
Now, I will say, yeah, it looks like it at the moment. Both teams, as we were sort of looking at, have opted to not even bother looking at that full wind. Pardon me, they're full wind right now. Obviously the wind is going the complete other way here, so they are
Yeah,
both taking the very slower option of slowly trying to see if they can outfox the opposition.
yeah.
And as you were sort of saying, here, we've got the 8 guns from the Jackals here maintaining lovely cohesion with the 13 gun. That 13 gun is going to be exceptionally slow at this sort of distance, and especially in this sort of positioning from the wind here. So trying to get that into position is going to be a pain. But once it's in position, it should have a very strong opportunity with the screen that it's got in front of it to put out some hurt. And I believe, by the looks of it, we've got some very significant crew over here, likes of Motley Fox, Dan Frank, and certainly you've also got their was it was it I would like to say that I could say that name, but I'm going to say it and I might butcher it. W Skroki up there on the front gun. That's probably the butcher. I probably
Definitely
shouldn't have even
butchered
bothered.
that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
butchered. But they are to bring themselves in here to bring that front gun hopefully in range soon. But we've now seen the RBF finally have got themselves into a position, and potentially they could be going to take a left turn here and just completely get out of this fight, see if they can come back in and attack the Jackals from behind. And it does look like the lead ship is positioning that way. They're going to give up a little bit of wind right now to take it, whereas the Jackals, they are keeping that wind for themselves, maybe even looking to form a blockade here by this island.
Not a bad
Uh,
idea. Get some shots off. Let them run north. Get the wind, and then you can always turn around.
Absolutely. I mean, as we say, the wind is bad to come back in this direction. So if you're going to give up the wind now and then come back in to try and attack them from behind, they can just turn. They can
Yeah.
make a maneuver to try and handle it. So we'll see how effective it's going to be.
It looks
But
like the Jackals are trying to get their 13 gun in a better range
yes,
position.
and the interesting thing that I find here is that we have got the gunboat for the Jackals holding off here, and allowing that rocket boat piloted by Katsub with Paxis on board, a known
Oh,
beaver from X over there in the Leviathans, and First Blood's been taken by Warcrime.
very
What a
nice.
snipe out! 531 meters from Warcrime there. What ship was that from? Let me find him. Let me find if I can
Can
find
you
him.
expect anything less than war crime?
Well, from war crime, no, you cannot expect war crimes apart from war crime there. War crime is actually on the front gun of the RBF's front gun on their 13 capital ship here. How
Yeah.
interesting! With Flash as the first cannon behind him on that ship. Could be very interesting how Leviathans manage to maybe help swing, or could potentially hamper if they lose their front gun here to that again. And the second blood has come out again from Sappy this time, one of the mercs, I believe, that sort of hangs out with the Leviathans quite often. So far the bloods have not come in from anything
Oh, good shot
on the
from
RBF yet.
Fishes. Well done,
Yes, another one
Fishes.
for
That's
Fishes.
my man. Fishes is probably one of the Marines' strongest naval players.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, and that is the first rocket boat down. It's first
Nice.
blood boat-wise to the RBF, and the second one claimed in short fashion. They did not want to let those small boats get close over there, and they had the screening from their gunboat to get in the way. But
Yeah,
now we start to see that this back ship could potentially be getting a lot of hurt at this sort of distance. The only thing that's really going to do a lot of damage to it is the 13. But peppering it can be annoying, and especially if they just try and take out the captain over and over with certainly with just shots and try and destroy cannons on that ship. It's going to be a
that's,
lot more of a hassle to handle.
I'm pretty sure every ship there on the Jackals fleet are managing to hit that 8 gun some way or another, and
Yes.
that's some really good gunnery work and good fleet cohesion there.
And I think also because with their 13 so staggered out and sort of moving now behind, they are pushing themselves even further into that wind direction of bad wind here. But they are not giving it into a position where they're going to lose the match from it, because they can always just sneak back around. And I'm just going to go
Yeah,
back and check to see what the Jackals are bringing out in terms of their next boats. And it looks like they are bringing out the second rocket here, and another gunboat. So again, very interesting to see exactly how they're going to do it. Hopefully, they're not going to sacrifice them as easy as it is the first one there. Um, but
This I
again, oh, cool. Sorry, carry on.
Sorry, Percy. I was just going to
No,
say I don't think there's the initial battle. I didn't see anything crazy amazing from either fleet, but it does beg the question: where are the RBF going to go once they reach the peak of North? They're only going to have to come against the wind now, and if I was to, if I wanted to be on a certain ship right now, I'd much prefer to be on the Jackal ships.
Well, certainly as we can see here right now, the RBF are making that pivot. They still have the wind here. They're turning their fleet to bring themselves into a position. Hopefully, they can to sort of bring themselves around for this next swing because the Jackals are going to be coming in now with full wind, sort of heading in this direction. It's much better for them. The interesting thing here that I will say now is that the Jackals have put themselves in a bad position, this current position, to try and come out between these islands if they're trying to send these two ships at the back here straight through. They are going to put two ships in basically slaughtering range for the whole of the RBS fleet here. It depends if the RBF are just going to let them take their spawn, which looks like that's where the 13 and the two 8s at the front are going to be going. But they look to be sending two ships. I don't know whether a distraction or a peace offering. I don't know what it is, but it looks like that's where the other two are going to be heading right now.
A
And I'm a
tribute.
little bit concerned for that one. The tribute potentially could be it. But Ranger and I don't think I can say that one either. I don't
No.
want to butcher it. You can butcher this one if you want. If you want to have a look at it, it's the closest one to the left island here, and see if you can butcher that one for me. I'm very sorry, Jackals. It's not my forte. Other languages.
No, it's all right. I understand. There's I believe that I'm a firm believer that when you start moving other ships out away from the fleet, it does sort of scare me a little bit. They
Mm.
obviously they're quickly getting back into formation, but like you said, where are they going? Where are they being sent to their slaughter? Are the distraction? It might work in their favor though, for sure.
It does look like now that they have. I don't know if they were listening or they've avoided it, but they have brought themselves back from going straight in, where it's where I thought they might have been going, and instead the Jackals have got themselves, the French side here have got themselves in a position where they have the opportunity to cross the T on maybe the front two ships of the British fleet here, headed by the RBF. Now the score is currently 2 boats to 0, but that doesn't mean necessarily it's all about the capital ships, which none really have suffered any sort of damage at all right now. For me, which is the interesting thing so far. It's been about 10 minutes into the game. Well, I would say I'd like to see a bit more of an opportunity in it. It looks like at the moment there seems to be a little bit uh, of how we would say an engagement coming in here. The first two ships from the RBF uh, are one at least is getting good range here on the Jackals, but the Jackals front two here and potentially the 13 gun here as well could be coming in. But it's all about the positioning here. If the Jackals don't get the right position, they leave that 13 gun really exposed for potentially these back two ships of the RBF here to peel off to their port or left side here for everyone that can see it and bring in some fire against that 13. But the RBF's 13 gun looks like it's going to be focusing its fire on these front two ships, and potentially they're just going to try and take out these 8 guns while leaving the 13 completely untouched.
If you were the
Interesting.
RBF right now, Percy, what would you be targeting? The 13 gun, or just go for the front two 8 guns?
I tell everyone to stop, look at that 13 gun, and make sure it doesn't live longer than it needs to be. This 13 gun is very exposed right now. Yeah, this 13 gun is very exposed from the Leviathan, wow, how do I call them? The Jackals right now, and it looks like at least some shots are coming in here now. But I don't even see the Jackals taking. The Jackals aren't even firing it. Is this just the Jackals and none of them are fighting at this 13 gun? None of them are firing at each other. They are taking out the 8 guns first. This is interesting. Looks
This
like maybe one ship is peeling in from the Jackals here. Or maybe it's just trying to get in position to cover for its 13 gun. I'm not sure. But the
Yeah,
angles are interesting here. This is a very spread out battle.
it's never good when the ships are sort of adjacent to one another because there's a significant amount of crossfire that can happen.
Absolutely. Now, the one thing I will note right now is that while this is essentially becoming a wall battle. It's not the traditional wall battle that we're sort of known we've seen here. It does look like the Jackals have sent one ship to peel off to try and attack from behind. Maybe a second one's going to be joining it. But essentially, if this front this front Jackal ships is taking all the fire from maybe the front three ships of the RBF here.
I don't know why
If
they're
this
not going full sails and just following the wind and trying to cross the T on them. That's what I'd be doing.
I am a little bit confused about it as well. The Jackals here, they have not given any. They have given one ship has given its tea completely over to this rear RBF ship, and Treehouse is going to be absolutely farming the kills with Bobby there, with Ivan and only one Woody. They are going to be causing it up. But these 13 guns, they have been going. They must have a pact or on a truce or something like that, because they are not fighting each other. I don't know whether this is just a new strategy or not, but I wish I had this last match, if I'm perfectly honest, in my last match against the NCP. But it looks like the ship that has taken most of the fire from the Jackals against its RBF fleet is trying to, whether it's trying to escape, get its crew on board to try and disrupt the flow of this fleet, I'm not sure, but it's trying now to escape with what little health it has, maybe disrupt the line of the RBF here. And to be fair, it has in a little bit, for it has now forced that RBF ship up against the wall,
And it's
and
almost gone. They've
it
just
has
lost one of their
gone.
8 guns.
That is the first Jackal's 8-gun gone. The Jackals now have this awkward situation where they have one ship that is sort of interspersed. It's moving behind the enemy lines here. They've got one ship that's basically covering the front of their 13, and they have one ship that is at a very weird angle. That if I have a quick look here, I don't really know what they can see with their cannons, unless they're shooting that ship that's at the wall. I'm not sure. I suppose the RBF did. The RBF did lose that front ship here, but I think the Jackals are going to lose their one in kind that has just sailed up to the wall to kill that ship. It's like trading, I suppose, what we may call a knight for knight in this instance, and it has happened. If we were looking at a chess metaphor there, the interesting thing that I will note, and I don't know if you noticed it, the RBF have not got access to their small boats. If there is a situation where they need it, they are going to have their RBF boats surrounded by a Jackal's fleet. They've taken their spawn. They're saying, "You aren't coming back here. This is our spawn now."
It's not the worst place to get on a gunboat though. You know, it gives you instant access to the enemy's ships. You know.
Well, yeah, you could instantly spawn on one of these rockets or gunboats and then spawn straight onto that 13 and cause a little bit of havoc. So I must admit, it's not the position I would choose to be, but it's one of those that you could use it as a pinch, as like a, if you do take them out. But by the looks of it, it looks like the Jackals here have turned, most of the fleet here from the RBF has turned to try and deal with this lone Jackal's 8-gun, as seeing it as the immediate threat, then forcing that to send in the 2 small boats behind it to try and again keep that threat, keep that. I suppose it's, you could account to it to the Eye of Sauron from the Lord of the Rings.
They're still very closely matched though. There's, you know, this could still go either way.
Oh, and that's a cannon gone on that ship that went straight out into the open there. Ooh,
Oh.
that's painful. That's painful. So, what have we got going on here? So, I will say for the moment, the RBFs, they're in an interesting position, because technically, from this position here, they are. Oh, that's a nasty kill on that gunboat there. That's painful.
Work.
So that potentially is going to be a gunboat now coming back in from the from, I can't remember which side that is. Is that both those gunboats come down on the British side? I believe.
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken. There's a
the
British
RBF
gunboat
have
down.
lost two gunboats.
So we will be seeing potentially the RBF bringing in their reinforcements for their boats in their spawn, where most of the fleet of the Jackals is hiding. Well, not hiding, but camping. And if you notice, this 13 gun has basically an unfettered view to just shoot at whichever ship it wants. It can just sit here and blast, because all of the RBF ships are in an awkward position to not get their guns. They can't turn their guns quick enough. They're just slowly rotating on the spot, because if they go forward, they're against the wind.
I can see the gunboats moving out of spawn now to engage
They
the
are indeed.
Jackals.
Interesting thing, one of them has brought out. They just tried to get one, but he did manage to get saved in time, and the carpenter from the boat opposite on the 8 gun there just saved his life. Well, Mr. Death is trying to spawn in. He is deploying at least some Marines to get over there, and I believe now one of the Jackals. Yes, they are indeed dropping the Beaver Squad. Motley is on the helm of that British gunboat, and they are dropping the Beaver Squad to handle it. Um,
I love that term, the Beaver Squad.
it is very fun. uh, and they are turning one ship to attack and fight it. There is just a random. I hate to say random. There's obviously a plan with it, but they have just got an 8 gun from the Jackers here out in the middle of nowhere. They've caused such disruption with it. It is engaged at least with one of the RBF ships, but at quite a long distance. Which is also that ship I think has also taken such a battering from the rest of this fleet here from the RBF. Sorry, from the Jackals here. But I don't think they've got much left to shoot at unless ships are coming into their range. It looks
It
like
looks like they're doing well with their gunnery there though, because they are hitting shots even despite being at such a large range.
yes, Warcrime has got decent. He's at least top on the Jackals team here on that front gun. He is causing havoc, but the other 13 is causing havoc as well. I think it's got a slightly higher score in terms of the front gun there, which is interesting. So I'm interested in how these are going on in terms of these front gun scores. One has just had completely unfettered access to shoot the other, which looks like it's been fun. So let's talk about it like this now. Okay, so we have got what looks to be both teams have lost a ship, a big capital ship. The
Yeah,
small boats have slowly started to even themselves out. I believe one has lost all of their rocket boats now, while the other still has rocket boats. And I believe that is the British squad, if I'm not mistaken. British now have spawned in another gunboat here, but I believe another Beaver is on it, and they have just sunk it. So the
wow.
British slowly losing their boats in their spawn here. This 13 is not allowing them to keep it, and with the 2 8 guns here, they are making sure that the RBF do not get any value out of those boats. But I'd say the better position right now has been slowly but surely the what's it called, the Royal Black Fleet here. They have got much more cohesion. Their fleet is more tightly packed together, and it does give them that opportunity. Oh, now they have the opportunity to go straight into the wind.
I agree with you
Straight into the
there.
wind now.
I
So
would I would rather be the RBF, at least having your fleet somewhat together. I mean, look at the Jackals. One of the 13 guns facing away from the battle, and the other 3 8 guns are sort of not sure where to go. So
yes,
I wonder what the plan was or is. We're gonna have to ask them when
I
this
can't wait for
game
this post-match
finishes.
interview. I am very
Yeah,
excited to see how this is going to go. So right now, it looks like there's been a boarding action here by a gunboat from the RBF to get onto that 13 gun. Didn't end up well. I believe they only have 2 boats left over here in the British spawn now. One is now trying to run away. It is
yeah.
helmed by Bosky Gerald, who is a carpenter right now, and he's trying to get those rockets right now to be turning to get straight into into sort of the sight line of the French flagship here, which I believe has now just gone down. Was that Bosky? I believe Bosky Gerald was a Frenchman. I believe the Frenchmen have just moved them over there. That's interesting.
Oh, I see.
I believe that's gone down now, and I believe the admins have just stated that that was maybe potentially something that needed to be not happening. So that's interesting. That is a rule violation right there, folks. We caught a war crime in action that wasn't being caught by war crime or
We
caused by war
have
crime.
the British have one more boat that they can use. But it looks like even with the one boat they can use, their fleet is looking significantly better than the Jackals. The Jackals do have 3 more boats that they can deploy, or they might already have 2 deployed. But I guess you've got to count your losses when you might lose some of your boats, but at the same time, if you're doing damage to the capital ships, and it's
Hmm.
kind of worth it in my opinion.
Well, I mean, right now the threat from the small harassing boats right now seem to be have completely been handled for the most part now by this. So
Yeah,
straight on that now, we do, by the looks of it, seem to have the small boats now coming back in from the jackals, and that 8-gun that was out in the middle of nowhere seems to now slowly have managed to reform. Whether or not it's going to live, because it looks like the rest of the British forces, the Royal Black Fleet, are going to be bringing in the entirety of those guns to bear on the rear of that ship, the aft potentially. I am a little bit concerned. It's slowly, incrementally getting out of range, so hopefully it will live. It looks like the sides of it has been decimated. There is not many wood on that ship left to keep those cannons safe. I believe they only have on one side one cannon, and on the other they have a few. So if they manage to bring it in on their starboard side, they might be able to handle that. And I believe they have just the was it the Royal Black Fleet have been given back one of their boats due to a rule violation, folks. So there is at least one boat back there for that to happen. Let's hope it doesn't come down to the score at the moment in this match. So
Well, I think
10
they'll
minutes.
be. Oh,
Oh,
sorry
sorry.
about that.
No, I was going to say we have 10 minutes left. What do you think if you are? Let's go. If you were, for example, the RBF right now, you have 10 minutes left. What's the major objective for you right now to seal the victory?
Well, that 8-gun that's managing to flee and return back to its column, I would be trying to focus down that. Um,
Okay.
I would try and take that out, and then I'm not a believer in running away and maintaining your ship's health. I would
Mhm.
full send it, try and sink their 13 gun, and really try and secure that victory. But like I said earlier, it's still anyone's game right now. I know the Jackals have taken a beating from the gunboats, but they're still up. Like you said, if this was a game of chess, I don't think anyone's got more resources than the others right now.
I think there's still enough material in the game to at least make it, a very, as you were saying a minute ago. There's enough material in the game to ensure that there's not going to be a winner from my perspective anytime soon. Both of these 13 guns have not been touched, and they were in the range to kill each other. No team decided in that instance to fire at anyone's 13 gun. That means coming into the sort of the last 10 minutes of this match, both 13s are at full health. The 8 guns are looking a little bit healthier on one side than the other, and I believe that's just down to the fact that the RBF have got healthier right now. Was it 8 guns due to that one that went out off on its own has now basically only got a couple of cannons on one side. Yeah, I think of all 8 cannons that it has 4 left, one on one side and 3 on the other. So that is essentially just going to be a gun platform or potentially a boarding vessel at this point.
Or you can see a lot more than me, Percy. So you'll be able to answer that better than me. I think that the gunboats are doing well to keep within the ship's formation, and I think the Jackals are just trying to get back to their battle line and reorganize after that sort of crazy initial engagement. Um, so yeah, I would start pushing my 13 gun closer to their fleet and really utilizing those portside batteries.
The RBF have started to turn yet again. This match has more twists and turns in it than I was expecting, as now they seem to be wanting to take more sort of now a westerly direction in this instance to head back towards their own spawn, perhaps maybe to get some safety for those boats that they had earlier that was essentially being, I wouldn't say necessarily camped, but what would you call it? Basically blockaded from the rest of their fleet earlier, maybe to ensure that they can get behind with the remaining rocket boats they have to harass this Royal Black Fleet that's basically now holding and taking the option of, if you come into this bay, which is sort of between these two islands and that the lighthouse there and the other island, if you come into this bay, you don't make it out alive. Very interesting here. Very interesting indeed.
Yeah, they did the same at the start of the game. They sort of had a little bit of a blockade going, and then they quickly changed that up when they realized the RBF weren't going to fall prey to that blockade. And yeah, they did manage to get some really great shots off on one of the RBS 8 guns. But it looks like the RBF are sort of anticipating this move and thinking we're not going to go there. We're going to do this our way, which I do like. It shows a lot of intuition by the RBS Admiral, the
And
Doctor.
the Yes, and the RBF look like they are bringing back in both those rocket boats they have into play. And with 6 minutes to go, this is the sort of time that I'm looking for that ship to be coming in, these boats to be coming in and causing a little bit of havoc. But one seems to be going completely around the islands, and the other seems to be coming directly in. I don't know whether those two helmsmen are on the same page, or what the plan is with those two boats specifically. But one looks like it's going to be trying to sneak in back around behind this Jackal fleet here, and the other is trying to get up sort of up close and personal with it.
It's a good idea, really, utilizing the boats that way.
It does look now like the two gunboats have seen it. Whether one of the Jackal's admirals have pointed it out, or if they've pointed it out themselves, they are sending the interception squad to take out that rocket boat. They are not letting the RBF get anywhere near with these sort of small boats
Wow.
today, and it looks like now that the main fleets are engaging again, which is interesting
Very
here.
briefly, they're not perfectly in range. Just they are actually. They're getting into those that range, and I like how quickly the Jackal's boats reacted to that. They're like the U.S. Coast Guard. They straight away they turned around. They're
Absolutely.
full sending it back to that boat. It's great.
Now, the interesting thing here is, once again, I think the positioning in this instance goes not to RBF this time, but to the Jackals, because in this instance, one 8 gun from the RBF is essentially non-existent. It's ahead of the pack. It's not going to get an opportunity to shoot unless you're shooting over the islands, which just makes it you're not in range for it now. These front two ships, you've got the 8 gun covering for the 13 gun, which means that the 13 gun maybe not is not going to shoot as much in this case. And in most instances, that 8 gun is just going to take an absolute pounding from these 13 cannon guns here. They are exceptionally more powerful than these 8 guns, and it's going to be very interesting how that's going to happen, because all it looks like from this point onwards, the Jackals are bringing in all those ships to cause as much damage and havoc as they can on that 8 gun that is covering for the 13. And if it gets out the way and allows the 13 to get some better shots off, that 13
Yeah.
might be the target itself.
They all they have to do, the Jackals now, is try and sink one of the RBF's 8 guns, and if they really want to play it the way they are playing it, where they're playing very, I guess, defensively, then they're doing what they're doing now with the 13 gun, utilizing the range. They're doing something right. Um, the RBF are changing their course. It looks like I think they want to try and really get into a slugging match with them and say, we want to fight. It's anyone's game. And
No one wants to fight by the looks of it. These teams have done they've had moments of engagement, but
yeah,
alas they have not managed to take it. And by the looks of it, I believe I believe the Coast Guard, as you put it, from the Jackals here, have decided to have been actually routed by the appearance of this 8 gun, and now the rocket boat coming in from the has been absolutely hitting. It's on point from the RBF here, as they are landing rocket after rocket on this poor gunboat that is now being chased away with the threat of that 8 gun behind them. This is interesting, and the other RBF rocket boat is now coming in as well, supported by this fleet. The Jackals, they are not having it either. They are going back around. They are taking the wind. They want to attack this fleet again from behind. Whereas the RBF, they want to come back in up against the wind, and I don't think we're going to maybe get potentially another big battle coming in here. They don't want to have the risk of these capital ships fighting each other. It's going to be now whatever score that could be coming in from these small boats that might decide it, which is interesting, as there was a rules violation in regards to one of those how these rocket boats were getting sunk earlier, I believe, from the Jackal's perspective. So it may come
fantastic
down
work.
to arena. It may come down to the arena management here in this one.
Yeah,
But it looks like the Beaver squad is coming in. Oh, and the Beaver squad is down. Paxis got absolutely countered there by the rocket boat carpenter here, Clark from the Eighth LR. Very interesting there that's happening. And now it is, I believe, rocket boat v. It's both gunboats are now chasing. In this case, one is looking to hold off one gunboat, the other is rocket boat. One is looking to hold off the other. It's a little death spiral around this little circular island here, with a big fleet coming in to maybe ruin it. So hopefully the 1v1s will be respected here. I would hope that it might be the only bit of action we have left in this match with 1 minute 40 to go.
so Percy, 1 minute 30. How do the Jackals or the RBF win now? Is it purely based on score? If no other 8 gun sinks, it's all on score. And what's that
with
looking like?
I can't see necessarily the score right now, but with the rules violation, I don't envy the arena admin here in having to decide this one if it comes down to score, as one ship had to be spawned in back spawned in for the RBF here. So I think there might be necessarily some agreement there.
Can we get an update on the score from our production team? Can we see how close this is going to be? This
But
is very interesting.
potentially in a minute we might have it. But by the looks of it right now, it does look like at least one final attempt is being made by the Jackals here to come in and attack. It looks like right now that the Jackals are bringing in the full might of whatever they have left, which is going to be at least 2 full, I believe, 8 guns, and one that is a little bit damaged, and a full health 13 gun to try and at least attack the back ship. With 30 seconds, I don't think it's going to happen, as it's interesting. But by now, I don't think any ship is going to be close enough for 28 seconds for a ship to die. It's going to be down to the small boats here, which at the moment are they're sort of safe. The Jackals. Oh, I say that Antigon has landed a huge rocket on one of these Jackals gunboats, but Pax is for the life of him sneaking back in. He's sneaking back in to try and kill him. Is Paxis? Oh, he does! He takes out Carter, and Antigon takes him out. Very interesting there. It's X on X violence, folks.
Yeah, blue on
We're
blue.
living
Come on,
here.
guys.
The French are supposedly victorious due to the amount of ships lost. However, the score, it is a united. It is very close. There is 1,000
That was
points in
very
it.
close.
I believe, until I hear otherwise, folks, this is a draw. I will update you on what I hear from the admins here. For a semi-final, what we call it here, or not a semi-final, a final for the lower bracket here, Kieran. What do you think do you think that lived up to the, sort of the barn burner acts, the sort of thing that we were thinking of here? Because for me, I felt a little bit shortchanged there. I don't know about you, but I felt shortchanged.
I absolutely agree with you, Percy. You know me. I like seeing action, and we did get a little bit of action, but not as much as I would have liked. I like it when it comes down to the nail. It comes down to the last ship, and I didn't get that today. I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty for some more action. I'm thirsty for some more cannon explosions. So maybe we'll get that in the next match. But I've got a lot of questions for these admirals.
I cannot wait to be able to pick the brains of both these admirals today, because this was a match that I don't think anyone was willing to give up the win for. They wouldn't give up any ships for, to be honest. They were trying their hardest to ensure, a very I'd say like a ground out victory. You know what I mean? I suppose the analogy you want to put it is they were both playing what is it? Mourinho style football here. They had both put 4-4-2 in the defense here. It felt like in a lot of instances today, and they just let the one just hoofed it up to the rapid little gunboats up there to try and cause some damage there. But that's what I'm basically putting this match down to. Both teams were in each other's heads so much they didn't want to make an offensive move that was going to cause a detriment. Which I suppose in this case, risk taking is what will win you the match, but it will also lose you the match. What I think, I think I don't want to say this out of turn, but I think we know the Marines maybe have learned a little bit this year in regards to how things have gone.
You're right. As being at the very, very at the very, very bottom of the leaderboard, we can be a little bit cheeky when talking about the other teams, because we all know who was the worst team in the league. It was the Marines, but next season, it's going to
Doesn't
be a
mean you
different
weren't the most
story.
entertaining team, however. We
I
never knew what
appreciate
was
that.
going to be coming out of the Marines. So tentatively, folks, I don't have an update for you as of yet. So we will continue to fill the air with as much sort of jovial banter as I can for the time being.
No more
With my
football.
lovely subject here
No
and
more
here.
football
Here and here.
metaphors, please, Percy.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best. I'm not exactly a big fan either of football, but it's just one thing that came into mind and how to maybe explain this to our dear viewers at home.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll be having our admirals soon. I do not have the update on who has won or who was lost in this instance. So, for the time being, until I hear otherwise, I'm gonna drop a little bit of information about the next match. Our next
Sounds great.
match is gonna be the grand final of the entire league. the entirety of our matches from February all the way down to what I believe the date is December 14th, quite a long season, folks, is handled today. The league standings might be Leviathan's first, the Kraken second, and the SCP third. But after we saw last week the issues that necessarily we faced against the SCP can't be understated, as they have proven that they are an exceptional team to be facing. And against Leviathans, it is going to be a very strong match. We know that the SCP can at least take them in a fight. We've seen it this season. They are the only team that has taken a match off of them. So I'm very interested to see how this one goes there. And I can now confirm, folks, that after everything that has happened in this match today, the lower bracket finals have been indeed won by the Royal Black Fleet. Thank you very much, everybody. So that is a confirmation that the winning team is the Royal Black Fleet, the winning admiral being Zedoctor. So let's have a quick look to see if we have any representatives so far while we're here. I believe we do have at least we have nobody as of yet. So they are slowly being recruited from speaking to everybody, and now that everyone's there, probably some celebrations. So momentarily, we should have sort of people being filtered in, folks. But I will say at least that hopefully the next match will be slightly faster paced. This was a real chess match in terms of the tactical ability that was being on display there. But hopefully we should see the next match coming in. So
Yeah.
I'm going to. What do you think about this? Let's talk back to this match because it's not over yet. This match hasn't, although its match is over there. We have our admirals to come and think about.
Yeah.
What do you think? Obviously, we know that there was a little bit of difficulty in terms of both people coming along. How do both teams sort of having a slower match? Do you think when we came into this, I can't remember necessarily which side you were rooting for. Which one did you root for winning? It was the Jackals, was it
It was
not?
the Jackals, yeah, you're right.
What
And
was their undoing today? What was their undoing? It was close margins, as we said. It was so tight in terms of what we were looking at today, in terms
well,
of both teams.
I'll just say, as someone who has faced every type of victory out there, whether it be by score or by having your fleet destroyed, I understand that it can be so frustrating when it comes down to points, especially because then you just start thinking, what could we have done better? How could we have bettered our score gain? How could we have got more kills here? And I really think it comes down to the tactics deployed at the time. And I think what the Jackals maybe could have done a little bit better was get in the fight and really try and use those gunners they had, use the carpenters, and I know they definitely did that today. But I think there could have been some improvement on the way they handled their fleet and getting it back coordinated into a battle line and be a little bit more daring, I'd say. But that's just me.
We have now both admirals from both sides in a very contentious, very hairy fought match. So I'm going to go over to our winning admiral today, who is from the Royal Black Fleet. You have just won, Zadoctor, for the RBF, their grand final in the lower bracket. How do you feel right now, you and Splunker? How does it feel today to have got that under your belt?
Was pretty good. First ever Admiral game in NSL. So, was very nervous coming into this. Um, and, well, still feeling a little bit of the jitters for it. But, like, overall, I think it went fairly well. The captains were able to follow through with most of the stuff that's going on. There was some really weird stuff happening with the gunboats, but we probably come back to that in a bit, right?
Yes, we can absolutely come back to that. And Splunker, how do you feel to end your season in a at least a final victory for the RBF here? It's been a long old season.
I feel good. I was glad we had a lot of new people. We had a lot of mercs. It's always good to just kind of talk to people on the different teams and to organize with them, get them all hyped up and ready to go. I was really excited to see how well they performed. They were talking to each other, communicating, giving shot calls. It's really nice to see that as the season progresses, you got people who are like learning the ropes and kind of understand the flow and how to get communication properly given to each person if they're not experienced and they don't understand certain things like what shot calls and where to aim. You got people who are experienced that can kind of guide them and teach them how to do that. I think the best thing I say to end this is I'm glad to see that there was significant growth on our team in both experience and in aptitude.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I think we all at the NSL have been glad to hear that for the first ever season, teams have been growing and sort of learning with time about sort of firstly their own styles, because I think every team has in some way their own unique styles, but certainly also that in the case maybe from Sedoctor, that we've had people who have come in for their first Admiral games and have seen good progress from maybe not having to do it at the start of the season to have, in this case, in a final of the bottom half of the table to ensure the lower half here to ensure a victory. So let's talk about necessarily the what was your plan coming into this? So I think as we noted, at least when we were doing the pre-match interview on this map, that obviously both teams were sort of selecting to maybe go into the islands, cause a little bit of havoc, and then come back out again. You guys at the start didn't really move anywhere. Was there any issues with that, or was this part of the plan?
It was part of the plan, believe it or not. The original plan is to stop at the start, see what the Jackals are doing, and then work around that. We were like going through some scenarios of like where they might go, how they might move. If maybe they play passive, maybe they go north, maybe they go south. What we did not expect was them to split both sides. And I feel like I might have fell into a bit of a trap there. I feel like they were like trying to bait us for the initial move, and which it did make us move, and then they rejoined quickly. That was a very nice maneuver there. But I feel like we just about got there mostly unscathed with like they were able to line us up, but it was very long range shots, and we had the wind on our side, so we were able to sail out of there.
It looked like for most of the match in this instance, it felt like there was a hesitation from at least both sides in my sort of view for the main fleet combat to happen. For example, when we had the main time, we had the interesting amount just for the 13 guns. Well, they had instances to shoot each other. Did you guys have a pact like trying to keep 13 guns alive? Because normally we see everyone just go straight for the 13 guns, but it seemed like both people just wanted to attack the heads of the fleet, which were the 8 guns in this case, which were the only big ships to go down. Do you want to talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'd like to attribute that towards. I think both of our fleets did a very good job, like spacing the 13 gun a bit further back. So maybe most of the 8 gunners were not able to reach there, at least as well as we would like to. And we just saw the opportunity of like focusing down on the front 8 gunner, and it seems Jackals did the same as well. And we worked it from there. Like we were still trying to focus fire as much as we could, but the 13 gunner just didn't seem as of an appealing of a target as they were so far away and nicely spaced out of the rest of the line.
I would love to say that I have a lot more. I have a little bit more time to be able to sit and talk with you about these matches. But I'm afraid with this, the show must press on, and I do have to go and have at least a speak to our unfortunately commiserations to our lovely what's it called, SCP? No, not SCP. Where am I talking about? I'm not even talking about the SCP. It's the Jackals. I'm afraid, folks, that have unfortunately were our people who lost this match. From your perspective, guys, you held, at least from my idea, held a good portion of the map in your grasp. Was that the main intention that you guys wanted for this match? Was it the sort of aspect of if we can take the map early, because you saw they weren't moving, whether that was the plan or not? What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my congratulations to RBF. Great match, close match. Yeah, we tried to trap them by splitting the fleet. It was surprisingly give us opportunity to surprise them, but also we find that we can easily combine our fleet. answer their movement. We have several options where to go. If they would go, for instance, to the open sea, we will act completely different after that splitting. So we tried to invite them into the trap, but they ran, and that was misery.
It looked like I hope this isn't going to be something that would necessarily offend people when I say this. It felt like this match was one of those that everyone who was taking part in it was trying to find a way to win that was about like the least risky engagement. And I think that's natural because it's a final. But is that something you both would say potentially was the aim here for this? Is to try and take as little risk as possible, but try to get the maximum out of it? Or was it that you both trying to counter each other too hard?
I think both sides were trying to read the other's moves. So I would probably like both sides played fairly safe, and as I believe if either of us would have fully sent it, I think that side would have lost there, at least from what he was seeing from Admiral's perspective.
Would you say similar for yourselves there on the Jackals side?
Yes, we tried to avoid risky move to lost our substantial ships. And it was my first time when I was Admiral on 13 gun, and that probably I avoid risky maneuvers that I don't feel comfortable on that ship as when I am Admiral.
I would say, at least from both perspectives, that it was, despite the fact maybe something that was a little bit on the more slow side in terms of the actual play, for both first-time admirals, I really can't say that you guys, you gave yourselves a much harder match for yourselves by reading each other like that, which I think made it into a match that is one of those that, in terms of tactics, it became sort of very, from my perspective at least, very interesting to watch because you were all circling around each other and no one was trying to close the distance. So it all became sort of a very widely open, contested, sort of ranged gunnery battle, which I think ended up just slightly ending up in the other team's favor. So I would say in that instance, a very interesting match from my perspective to watch. I don't know about you, Kieran. Have you got any questions for these lovely teams and their wonderful admirals?
Well, I just want to say congratulations to the RBF Admirals, the Doctor, and commiserations to the Jackals. You both played really well. I think me being a Marines Admiral, I would have liked to see more action, but as Percy said, it was the final, and you both sort of eyeing up each other's fleets, where you're going to go. I really liked the initial decision to split the fleet at the start. From the Jackals. I thought that was quite an interesting tactic. It really leaves it really left the RBF sort of wondering where should we go. But initially, finally, I would just like to say that I think the squadron really lived up to their name today. They didn't manage to secure the victory, but they did a fantastic job. The gunboat battles were brilliant, and I really enjoy watching it. So thank you.
And I would just say, for our first-time admirals here, for what it seems to be a final, I would say you have done exceptionally well for both teams here. And if we are to see you next season, which I hope we both are in terms of both teams here, I can't wait to see what you both do in terms of next season, because I believe hopefully the league will be a little bit bigger. I'm not going to spoil anything, but hopefully potentially a little bit bigger. So we see how you guys handle it. So I will say, from now, I'm going to love you and leave you as we move into the pre-game coverage for the next match. Thank you so much to both teams, and congratulations again to the RBF on being the lower bracket final winner. Brilliant work. Both teams, fantastic work.
GG.
A good game.
Fantastic game. Brilliant, guys. Thank you so much. So, with that in mind, we have now what seems to be the culmination of the entirety of the NSL now. This is the final match of this season. Kieran, are you excited?
I am very excited, and it must be a little bit disappointed that the KRN aren't in there, Percy.
I knew this question was going to come up. I didn't really know what to say. I think it's bittersweet for me. I
Yeah.
would love to be here, but I am friends with both teams, and I know that if we were strong enough to be there, we would be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, last week I wasn't on my game, and it just wasn't meant to be. So, with that in mind, I've got to look at this from a perspective of who would I want to win? My mortal enemy or my now new mortal enemy? I don't know. Kieran, who are you going to choose to be your team? Who are you repping in this instance?
As always, I've always been a big fan of the Leviathans. So I'm hoping they win. But
Okay.
I can understand why it might be a little bit conflicting for yourself. You know, the old guard Leviathans, they've always been the strong competitors, especially for Kraken. But now the SCP-38, they swoop in and they're taking your grand finale spot. So I can understand the confliction, but come on, I'm pressing you for an answer here, Percy. Who do you want to win?
You know what? I've seen them do it once. I will see them do it again. SCP, if you cannot beat Leviathans, I don't know who are going to in this final of potentially what could be the last big match in the NSL in terms of naval competition before the new update that is potentially being released in Q1 of this year for Holdfast Nations at War. I am standing the SCP. I'm sorry, Leviathans. I love you, I really do, and I love to see, us battle it out. But if I can't beat you, I've got to watch someone else do it. So, in this case, we have the two admirals who have been the bane of my existence this season. The only admirals that I've lost to in both Lemerck. Actually, no, I did lose. Lemerck didn't actually face one round, but that was when we were playing. It was safe, I believe, was the other admiral for Leviathans. But we have Muffin Top as well. Is the other one here? You've seen them all season. You've played them, played with them here, Kieran. We
Yeah.
have Lemerck and Leviathans who are on a 9-1 season record versus the underdog in the SCP here with a 7-3 record.
Yeah.
The all-time matchup is a 1-1. Talk to me about Leviathan's players. Who are you thinking are to be the difference makers for this match?
Well, I can't. I think it was either Muffin Top. I think it was Muffin Top Scout last time when the Leviathans beat the SCP-38. He said, "Look, it's 1-1 now," and so this will be the decider. Leviathans are going to take the 2-1 victory out of the SCP-38. But both have really strong teams, really strong gunners, really strong captains. I hate to use the football terms again, but it's like seeing Real Madrid play Barcelona. Very strong teams and the best of the best in each squad. So I think that some of the key players are obviously going to be Shadow. Shadow's a fantastic carronade. Carronade gunner, and then Spicy Paper, Dan Frank, B Bobby, they're both up there on trying to compete to be the best mercs and the best gunners, and it's going to be a really interesting match to watch. I'm hoping to see a lot of cannon explosions in this one, and I guess a little bit more aggression. What about yourself, Percy?
I mean, I could talk for days on just the characters alone that we have in this match.
Yeah.
You've got the likes of Motley Fox, who we saw previously shooting, I believe it was for the RBF there. Icy, who's maybe not necessarily someone who has come onto the list so far. Icy has been a stalwart cannoneer, not just for in terms of as a mercenary, but also just for the Leviathans in general. He's probably the only threat that I could see to Spicy Paper's dominance. As much as I've tried with our own team, and we've had within the Kraken so many people come close. I believe Icy's the only one who potentially may have done it by the end of this season.
Yeah.
And if anyone's going to be on that carronade, I've been waiting for this match for a while, for everything to be on the line and to see which one of these two are going to finally put to bed that front gun rivalry.
Should we move on to the map
Let's
preview?
look at this
Percy?
map. Because this map is the bane of my existence. In the start of the season, when we faced Leviathans on this on this map, we necessarily didn't have the wind in a neutral fashion
No.
against them, I will admit. But alas, it is a map that is full of awkward, wibbly wobbly places.
Yeah,
Then
I
the court-
co-chaired that match with Amit, one of the very first games of the season when the Kraken were against the Leviathans. That was a really interesting match.
It was a tough one, I would say. Say for that one, it was a tough one for us trying to find the right place to maneuver when you don't have the wind with you. In this case, the wind is completely neutral. It is
Yeah.
a southerly facing wind, so we'll show you what that's like on the game or when we come into the game. But how this is going to work is that the Central Islands, in my personal opinion, are either going to be you don't want to get caught up in there. You're going to want to go around them, and that makes it difficult for both teams. Do you think people are going to be fighting in the main sort of big box that we have, and then sort of avoiding the middle sort of tinier box, or are they going to be using the wings?
Yeah, I think you're right. The Central Islands are sort of pivotal in this arena, but the outer islands are useful if you want to try some flanking maneuvers. Get through them those small sort of gaps between the islands. It's quite fun. I would have loved to have this. I'm glad it's this map in the grand final. I should
Well,
say.
they got to choose. So this is the interesting thing that both teams, I believe, whoever won their semi-final match got to choose the map that they played on. So this was a choice by the SCP. They probably have some plans cooking for it. They got to choose this map, as did the I believe the Jackals in their last match that we've just seen previously. So in this match, I am curious to see. I'm going to go and have a quick look first. I'm going to check to see if we're going to see interesting gunboat strategies. And it looks like so far for the French team, it's a double gunboat. So the French this time being that of the SCP 38, which are going to be my team that I'm going to be rooting for this match, hopefully. But I'll give objective commentary nevertheless.
Well,
and go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I like you doing these opening moments, which boats are being deployed and who's captain on which vessels. It leaves me wondering which way they're going to go. Do you think they'll both go against the wind?
I am not sure. In terms of this match, I think I am a little bit confused exactly what. Oh my dear lord! Okay, I'm a little bit jealous now that I couldn't vote and play for Leviathans in this match because we have, in this case, we have was it Gunnar and Ronnie on one gunboat. So Gunnar being our arena admin for most of the season here, folks. He's been the reason that some of these games have been so managed so well, and he's the mercenary distribution person for the league. And it's an exceptional job and everything, and sometimes thankless, never really named too many times, but thank God he's here and helping out. And Warcrime, who was, I believe, the top gunner for the Jackals last time, on the helm with my very own Verita from the KRN on the front of on those gunboats. Versus, it's going to be two gunboats v two gunboat, folks. But I'm very excited for this match. I don't know whether you can tell.
Is Gunnar on one of the gunboats then?
Gunner is indeed. He's the front gunner, one of the gunboats. On the British side here.
I thought Gunnar might have forgotten how to sail at this point.
Well, he's not sailing. Ronnie is sailing for him. He's there to be shooting a cannon. So I'm interested to see how that one's going to go. But remember, these two teams have all season fought so hard to get to this position. Leviathans, maybe I don't know if they had to fight hard. They probably have. It's been difficult, I think, in large parts for them, but they have got there in the end. And I've just realised that it's going to be KRN Violence versus KRN Violence because Frisky is also on the other gunboat on the side of the SCP here. Verita and Frisky are going to be shooting against each other. I'm a little bit sad for that. But it does look like that Pookie the Cat and Axolotl is with Sir Fishes on the other gunboat for the SCP over here. So I'm very interested to see. Now, looking at it objectively, both teams are entering the sub-arena of the main arena. Let's call these inside walls.
I like it, sub-arena.
The inner arena, yeah. And then there's also a sub-arena, if you want to get very technical, in the very middle of the map. So... Yeah, there is and the interesting formation is, it looks like for the Leviathans, all of their 8 guns are in a very, very, very tight line abreast here. And I mean, that is a very tight line abreast. That is exceptional fleet coordination. Look at this. They are all trying to fit at the same time through a very, very small gap. Most teams go in a line. They are not. The Leviathans are showing off here today. They are sending in a full Nelson-like charge here, versus what seems to be a very similar strategy, but not as very fancy as it is from the SCP here.
Yeah.
They're forming a nicer line, although I will say it looks like it's a smaller gap. I think trying to fit force through that, it's a little bit of too much. But the interesting thing here is that when Leviathans do make it through this gap, and if they don't, it's going to be a little bit embarrassing. But if they do, they are going to have all the ships at the same speed, at the same position, and they're going to have to manage that. It's impressive looking. Like, this is a grand final, and I'm already looking at Leviathans going, the ship coordination is exceptional, and those gunboats are driving into the center of the little main arena, little arena here, for both teams. I don't know if anyone's clocked each other yet in terms of where they're going, but it looks like both teams want to be going upwind here. So remember, the wind is coming southwards. So that means it's going to be coming. If you see the arena banner to the north of us, it's the other direction. So both teams looking so far like they want to take the upper wind strategy.
Yeah.
Now, whether that stays that way or not, different story. But
It's just perfect cohesion, isn't it, from both teams, really? The SCP know what they're doing. They're dropping the sails. They're preparing a formation, and they're preparing to bring their 13 gun through as quickly as possible. But the Leviathans really know how to do this. They're very disciplined, and it's nice to see. I'm sure I saw the same formation on Pirates of the Caribbean, so I wonder if Lemert gets his inspiration from there.
potentially. And I suppose it's not really a spoiler to note that there will be pirates coming into the new update, coming into Holdfast Nations at War, and you can start to see now where this sort of coordination comes in. Look at it. We have got at least all ships taking a much slower route coming in here from the Leviathans. At the same time, I don't know, it wasn't necessarily completely coordinated, but it would win cool points if it was. They have slowed all of those 8 guns down, and now all of them are dropping their ships again. It's so close to unison. This
Wow.
match, I know, it's so close to unison. They are giving us a show here, folks. And they are sending in the sneaky gunboats. The sneaky gunboats are coming through. Gunner and Verita are ready. Two of some of the most exceptional gunboat gunners I've seen so far this season. I know Gunner has played at least a few matches on them. Versus at least Frisky and Axolotl, who I would say potentially are some of the others. One is taking one gunboat crew is much further along than the other. Whether or not they've got someone in the sky for Leviathans telling them that, I'm not sure. But at least we will see from the perspective of the SCP, those gunboats will at least clock. Hopefully, the other. Yep, they've seen them, and the shots are looking like they're going to be coming in very shortly, folks. First shot's coming in. First shot.
Just out of
Missed.
range.
They have just missed very shortly, and they've given up their position. And it looks like now Leviathan's gunboats are looking to come in. And by the looks of it, from what I can see, it looks like the mini sub-arena is going to be used, folks. It looks like the Leviathans are going to try and make it. And I believe they made this very same move against us in their very first match of the season. When they came through this island to come, because we sort of piled through, and there's a KRN to hold this area. Though they didn't hold the exact same. We haven't held the exact same choke point. We went a little bit further up to try and take something here. So at the moment, the SCP are looking to create what looks to be like a barrier formation. They're going to try and make sure that they're going to send their 8 guns forward when they have the opportunity and cause themselves a good blockade to fight the onslaught that is to come. And it looks like, again, Leviathans are forming the exact same way, but there's not going to be too much in terms of the big fleet, folks. We're going to come back to these little small boats. And I believe both teams are both at a range. They are just firing hot air at each other right now. Hot air is full of lead, potentially. Oh, no, they are in range of each other, but they are long-distance fighting. It looks like I think, from the looks of it, the Leviathan's gunners here are slowly honing in quicker than we are looking at on the gunboats for the SCP right now. But I will confirm when they start to land the hits. And we're starting to see the Leviathans moving in now, folks. Kieran.
Like that they've been daring, they've decided to go into the sub islands and really take the fight to the SCP-38. I think Lemerck will anticipate, their first 8 gun might take a little bit of a beating, but it doesn't seem too concerned. He's keeping the 13 gun on reserve, keeping it out of the initial fight. But having the 13 gun is pivotal. As keeping the health high, having those guns ready to bear, it's fantastic work.
First
And
engagement is come
yeah.
through here. The first engagement has come through.
a lot of
Now-
shots on that 8 gun.
Look at this. Very interesting so far. Looking at it, which one for you is the better position so far? Because right now, it's tough. The only one I can see that hasn't escaped is Leviathans, because the SCP have to fight their way through the entire Leviathans line to let them out, and it looks like they're intentionally doing that, creating a concave, and that first ship is taking an absolute beating from the
Yes.
SCP. Who is this captain? Amit is staring straight into it. He's got a full SCP crew, 1 cannon down, but he is has he got a cannon down? I believe no. He's got all cannon. No, 1 cannon is down, and they are taking a big fight. But Spicy Paper from that front gun is coming in from the top rope. It looks like almost, and offering big support to his team. He's already got 2 kills, and it's not 7 minutes into the match.
Yeah. It's great work, isn't it? But it does make you wonder, Percy, are they going to get boxed in here? Or are they going to be able
That's
to
my
escape
thinking.
by the islands?
Oh no! And if you look at it, the 13 gun is slowly but surely creeping in close for full range for the fleet, for the SCP here. The whole look immediately, you see it, the pivot from the Leviathans. They see that 13 gun, they want to shoot it. There is actually a way for them to get out of this, but it's the riskiest maneuver I've seen so far in the SCP this season. I'm trying to pull it off. I believe the captain of this 13 gun is Mika, and I believe he's trying to get himself through the very small, tiny gap of
Lots
the
of
island.
cannon explosions there.
There is a lot of cannon explosions going on here. The healths are going down, but I believe Leviathan's front gun is the first Leviathan 8 gun is about like a third health has already gone. It is taking a beating, but so are the cannons of the SCP here. Multiple cannons on this first SCP-8 gun is taking a lot of damage, but as you said, it looks like slowly but surely the SCP have found their exit. The Leviathans are not boxing them in here. It's going to be painful, and they are taking the heat for it, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that 13 gun is free. And by the looks of it, if the Leviathans don't move, that 13 gun has got full wind to come and cross the T of the entirety of the Leviathan's fleet. Have the Leviathans been played here? Have they been played like a fiddle? I don't know. I can't tell right now. I'm too excited for this match. Kieran, you're going to have to ground me. I
think
didn't realize
it's too early to tell, and I think someone as composed as Merc might anticipate this happening, and will be able to adapt very quickly. But what a fantastic move by Mika on the 13 gun.
I thought the SCP just had their 8 gun stuck in the islands there. I thought that was going to be a problem. But Mika has found his way out, but I don't know if it's made him any help, it's given him much help. Those Leviathan's 8 guns are now coming back in to screen their flagship. They are not letting anywhere near the hope of the 13 to take that 13v13 engagement. Lemerc will not take the 1v1, and instead he is making sure that his 8 guns have given him proper screening cover. And it looks like that, by the looks of it right now, the 8 guns from the SCP are not going to be in range to be able to give proper cover. Those guns are not going to be able to bear.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
this is a
13 gun is
risky
taking a
fight.
beating right now,
It is taking a beating.
and they're going to cross the T as well.
It looks like it. Okay, if you were me, or if you were Muffin Top, right now, what are you selling your team to do? You're under
That
fire.
is a tough question. I think I'm out of skill here, Percy, to answer that. I can't remember being in a situation like this, having the entire fleet have the T's crossed. But I would say, you need to bring some cannons to bear. The 13 gun had its cannons to bear, but now it's getting stuck in
13 has one
crossfire.
cannon to bear. The 13 has one
Oh,
cannon
one
to bear.
cannon. See, I don't have that information, Percy.
No, they don't even have a front gun. That 13 for
Oh.
the SCP have one gun on their entirety of their
Oh, no.
starboard side. There is no guns left for that ship to fight. They don't even hit the front guns down. Spicy Paper, in for the sakes of this match, in terms of a front gun, is not getting more than 385 score in terms of the front gun anymore. He has 2 kills to his name. Jackson, on one of the 8 guns for the Leviathans, has got 500 score and 4 kills to his name. This is now a fight to the wall. Icy Paper, I was speaking to him earlier. He's just got 3 kills on the VOC. Oh, this is a tough match.
what a fantastic sort of reforming of vessels. Every ship right now is using its cannons on the Leviathans, and it just seems like the SCP-38, they're in a bit of a disarray at the moment. You know, I thought that when they went through that channel, it might have been a nice surprise, and they might have been able to ambush the Leviathans. But how quickly did they adapt, Percy?
Oh, the Leviathans adapted quickly, and by the looks of it, I think it is Amit's crew here. No, it's Lucius. In this case, Lucius is bringing one of his ships to bear to try and draw some of this fire away. 3 8 guns from the Leviathans are pummeling it with shots. I don't know if they've got anyone in this crew that is here. It looks like they potentially have some melees on this boat, but they're not getting a chance to use them. They are literally, Lucius's ship is taking an absolute pummeling here. It's got hell. It's not going to be cannons then in this case that are going to do it. They're going to try and just deploy.
That's one 8 gun down.
They are bringing look the VOC and number 16, Amit's crew. It looks like Lucius was taken over for Amit, but Amit's crew at this low health were trying to get in to try and cause disruption. And it might have bought their 13 some time. I don't know how many guns it's got left on that side, but it is alive. It's at a sliver of health, and it's interesting. We've got at least the front ship here for the Leviathans. Remember, the Leviathans have 2 low ships here. It is not completely out of the question that they could lose some ships here, because they can.
No.
The majority of Leviathan's fleet are not in they are in a position, but they're not in the best position to help this ship that's gone to the wall.
They sort of, you know, if they know that 13 guns as low as it is, you know, I'd say that's 10 shots off max, and that's easy. That's easy for the Leviathans. But I would, if I was a 13 gun now, if I was Nika, I'd be escaping. I'd be out of there.
So, the reinforcements now coming back in from Leviathans. Leviathan's ship at the front has still got health, but 1 cannon. If you were the SCP, do you bother shooting the ship? Do you just wait, you take out that next cannon, you hope that someone on your crews take it, and then you start shooting whatever ships are coming in now? Because those are the ones that have got cannons that are coming to bear on the rest of your fleet. Your 13 gun has not got many left. You can't afford to let this happen. And I know I've been saying this, but while we've been happening this amazing fight, these gunboats have been having a blast of their own. The SCP's gunboats are still holding on against the Leviathans here. They are holding at sort of an island position, sort of in the sub-islands, the sub-arena as we were calling it earlier. And the Leviathan's gunboats are screening this time. I remember when they fought the Leviathans the first time this season, and they got the upset. It was these gunboats that caused it. Axolotl was just taking out Verita. Axolotl just got took out by Motley. So those cannonballs just shot at the same time in the air. Oh no, it's a different Axolotl, but so close. Icy is now taking out Valley of... I can't say that on stream. And Sir Jackson has taken out Zocker from the HLG. There is a lot of fights going on here. And both teams have lost an 8 gun each. It's now down to who can keep their 8 guns alive. The 8 gun health... there is another 1 gun down. There's another 8 gun down gone for the SCP here, I believe. So it's now going to be the Leviathans have got the advantage, let's say, in this case. And the 13 gun from the SCP are holding at a distance.
They have a rowboat moving over to the SCP-38. The Leviathans have a nice rowboat action. They might get a nice broadside as well by the SCP-38.
Oh goodness, I can't. I don't know if I can watch this anymore. Come on, SCP, you've got to be able to do this. You've got to pull in somewhere. The Leviathans have got 3 guns on the ship that's going towards the wall. Their port side has got 3 guns left, 3 cannons up. The one behind that has got, I believe, by the looks of it, on their port side, full cannons, but they are pulling away slowly right now. This could be a reformation plan. I'm not sure. It could just be conserve the resources, because right now these ships are boxed in. The SCP are boxed into a corner of their own making. They can't really escape from it. Oh my god! Wow. Patton has just got an insane amount of kills from various different regiments here.
Well done, Patton. That's the thing, isn't it? The SCP-38 is a collection of many different regiments. You know, they're bringing lots of different players in here, and so you're really not sure who to root for.
Well, I think we all know it's a collective of just the SCP, but it is a difficult one to watch this, because I think the SCP, that ship behind them is Killam has just got 2 kills on a cannon of his making.
Don't kill him.
He is trying, Axolotl from the GDE is having to save this ship. I don't know if I believe someone from the number 16 is going to take it over, or if Axel All is just going to be piloting it himself. But he's got to get that ship out of there. They are taking too much fire. They are hemmed in against the wall here.
They really are. I was just about to say that, Percy. You know,
The only
I
escape is
told
the
you
way
it's a
they
death
came.
wall.
Yeah, it is. The only way they can escape this is by going the way they came in, or running away entirely. I don't even know if the small boats can save them at this point. The small boats have put up such a fight here. I think they have taken out, I believe, yeah, the SCP have taken out, while all this has been happening, they took out the big, bad, scary gunboats of the Leviathans here. And those boats now do have the opportunity to try and fire back on this fleet that has penned in and killed what's left of them. Jackson has just got another kill. He is at how many kills now? He was at 4. He's gone up a bit now, I think. But Icy Paper has got 12 kills. As I stated earlier, he was the one that I wanted to watch on this one. And by God, on that front gun carronade, he is showing the league how scary it is when someone is not, even when Spicy Paper is on your team, your front gun's gone. And he's just got free reign from where he wants to. They have just got a sit-in target over there that all 3 Leviathan's 8 guns are pounding here. And then, 2, sorry, because the other one is now turning over to come and fight these little annoying gunboats that are coming back in. And I believe now Leviathans are bringing back in 2 more boats, 2 more reinforcements. They're bringing another gunboat and another gunboat. They are not worrying about those rocket boats.
No, they're not.
Jackson, 3 more kills.
Wow. It just goes to show, doesn't it, Percy, how important that 13 gun. When it came out of that valley, it didn't have enough guns on that starboard side, and like you said, the carronade was gone. So not being able to utilize that carronade is so important.
So I think I can put in terminology for this match. When the SCP came out from their initial fight position and then came into sort of where they wanted to go through that little tiny gap, which was really their only opposition, the only way to escape, that 13 did not have enough screening 8 guns. And when that happened, that 13 took so much damage that the Merc on his capital ship hasn't had to have. I think he maybe had a slight touch in damage, especially of course his port side. But he has taken very little damage. He has just sat back and let his cannons do all of the work. That ship has caused so much havoc. While Mika, bless him, on this ship that he's got left here, they have been in absolute... They've been in a war. And I believe now they are the only ship left for the SCP. And they are still fighting. They are not giving up.
I think they've got a full complement on that port side as well.
Absolutely. It is still not over. As hard as it is to say, it is not over. They still have nearly a full complement of guns over there to fight. And hopefully, from what I can see here, I don't know if this is the healthier of the 8 guns for Leviathan, but they still have 2, they've lost 2 8 guns, and they have 1 8 gun that is at low health. Whether or not it's, I don't think it's going to be necessarily... I don't think there's a comeback necessarily on the cards, unless these gunboats from the SCP are going to cause absolute havoc. But I believe Lemerc is not giving that to any chance. Treehouse Animations, his lucky rearguard has been given the operation to sweep out the SCP Coast Guard here. And the SCP Coast Guard is not letting them get away with it. I believe that is close to being another 8 gun of theirs going down. Oh my goodness, this 13 gun is on a sliver of health. And if it goes down, there is the game, set, and match if that happens, folks. The Merc is coming in for the kill. But is it going to be someone else that's going to take it out instead? Is Anjigan going to steal the thunder? I can't tell.
It's got to be one shot. It's got to be one shot.
It is so close on their health. It is at 1 shot. I don't know whether one's going to hit. Oh, the Chevrolet has taken out that ship. Chevrolet has taken out that ship. One of the ships have gone down for Leviathans here. It's a 3 Leviathan ship loss here. This is a tight match.
Is the carronade still up, Percy?
The carronade for the 13 is gone long time ago, and so is the hopes and dreams of the SCP 38. Sorry, they have tried so hard. They fought so long, but unfortunately, it was not able to overcome what we know to be Leviathans and that bloody pirate fleet. Your winners of the NSL championships is none other than the Leviathans, folks. What a match that was.
Oh.
What a match.
That was fantastic. That was really, it was crazy. The whole game, I was on the edge of my seat, and I could tell you were, Percy.
Yeah, bloomin' Nora. Let's look at that one back. So that is, folks, the winner of the NSL is, of course, Lemerck and his lovely pirate fleet. What a match that was. Kieran, talk to me about this. We saw in this match very unusual opening. To start with, obviously, we saw the play from Leviathan's exceptional fleet coordination. Like, I don't think they were showing off today. They wanted everyone to know that they were in a position to cause some hurt today, and we saw it. We also saw that the SCP took themselves into a position where, I don't know about you, but potentially staying where they did, which is essentially their half of the spawn in terms of on this map. Space, I think, is the key part of this map in general. And they gave Leviathans as much as they wanted to work with. They didn't contest any of the gaps except for the one. And when they got into a position that, the Leviathans were contesting them space, as soon as that happened, we saw immediately that fight was going to go a little bit pear-shaped. Because not like the match we saw previously, these ships were gunning for the 13 guns. It doesn't matter what other ship was in the way. If there was an 8-gun, a gunboat for a reason, if it was being the most annoying thing on Earth, we know those 13 guns, and the rest of the fleets were going to be fighting those 13 guns. And unfortunately, I believe the SCP found out today that when they didn't have enough screening cover there, it caused that issue. That's where I thought the match changed personally. In that sort of pivotal moment was when the SCP got a little bit hemmed in on their side. Leviathans caused an amazing sort of, we're forcing you out of this place. Take the only option we're giving you, because it's the only option they had left. And that there was the most important part for it for me. What about you? Where was your pivotal moment? Is it the same as mine, or is it a bit earlier, a bit later?
I think about the same. I think as soon as the SCP-38 got against that wall, it was the Leviathan's game to win, and they really displayed that their guns were well trained. They were tagged in the same ship throughout, and yeah, towards the end, I think they had an 8-gun almost full health, a 13-gun pretty much full health. It's a good place to be, isn't it?
It's not a bad place to be, I'll give it that. They had to sacrifice at least 3 of their ships, but they did at least bring home the title. I don't know what the title's called. Is it the Golden Trophy? I can't remember. I don't know if there is one. But I at least know that they have won this year's NSL. So congratulations to Leviathans. Now, hopefully soon we'll have the Admirals coming in soon, and we can have at least a very long, detailed conversation with them, because we didn't get necessarily too much with the lower bracket finals, as much as I wanted to interview them. But certainly, hopefully for this one, we will have a good opportunity to do so. I will say, all round, we had an exceptional battle. I think the scores from both teams were high in a lot of ways. The kill count, at least, was high from both sides. The attrition, I think, both sides suffered was not healthy, and I think many sailors on each side would have lost arms and limbs for the amount of cannonballs that were firing at each other.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I wasn't fighting in it, and I was watching overhead at least for this one, because it would have been a bloodbath, which we saw in the end. It kind of was. So yeah,
it was a great slugging match. We do have both admirals here now, Percy.
we have both admirals. Fantastic. So, you know what? I guess I have to stick with convention. I'm going to bring in the admiral full of Leviathans and the host of this wonderful league, Lemerck. Congratulations, Lemerck. What a battle that was.
It was a great battle in every way.
Before we go ahead and talk about it, first off, right here, right now, how do you feel?
I mean, it's a dream on top of a dream. To have this competition exist at all with the sheer amount of talent, like the SCP, like you guys yourselves and the Krakens, and all the other teams that have participated. And I mean, that itself, more than enough to keep me happy for the whole year. But of course, to win it is an even greater honor, especially again against such an incredible team in such a hard-fought finals, in such a close finals. This is as good as I could imagine it. So I'm on top of the world.
And secondly, did you have a chance to speak to your crew? How were they feeling at this important moment?
Jubilant.
I can imagine the exact chat that is going on right now. They are very excited to have at least won this first season, a long season from the NSL. So I'd say congratulations not only just to yourself, but all the Admirals that have played with you this season. I believe you've had Safe and Atticus. Did he also Admiral this season?
Both of them. Yeah.
Fantastic. And also then, of course, your wonderful crew who have been not only just top fighters all round, but also been murking for other teams, having also difference makers for each side as well. So in a lot of battles this season, we can all tell that that Leviathans have put in a shift. So congratulations to yourselves and to your team.
Thank you.
Next thing, I suppose, in this match was you guys. I don't know whether it was just show off for the camera, but we had incredible, I think, angles from our spectators here today of such of the fleet coordination. 4 ships going through that small tiny island passage, sails going up and down at the exact same time, or at least close to. What was that about? Come on, talk to me.
If it looked like we were showing off, we really weren't. What our doctrine today was to keep those 8 guns nice and densely packed, because we never wanted a situation in which our 8 guns get. I mean, it ended up happening anyway, but that was the battle. We were just one of these guys to stay closer. They always had similar range and rotation to each other, so that we were never, one ship wasn't really out of place from any other. Everybody could concentrate their fire on the targets that we choose. And though that is not how it ended up, because when you fight a team like the SCP, the plan goes out the window, right? But that was our intention. So if it looked good, that's great. But it had a utility.
I say from watching it, it was a spectacle to behold. From my perspective, I think we were both gushing, both Kieran's and I, on just that fleet work itself. But coming to the actual match, let's talk about it. Looking at this map, obviously you didn't get a hand in choosing this map, so you basically got told this is the map we want to fight you on.
Yes.
When you saw it, what was your initial reaction? Because this map, you've had good luck on this map. You faced us at the first match of this season in this map, so you have familiarity with it. What was your sort of initial impression when they told you this is the map? We want the arena, inside the arena, and then maybe a small arena inside. Talk to me about it.
Concentric circles for sure.
Yeah.
So it immediately tipped us off that they were going to have a defensive mindset. This is a defender's dream map, right? This is a positional, holding a position dream map. Because yes,
I would say I struggle with that one, but
because okay, so in battles that we have watched with the SCP, they are very smart about their usage of space between them and their opponents, and islands for cover and to mask their movements. And we have also shown, I think, in our last match with the SCP, we also demonstrated that we have an understanding of how to use islands to cover our weak spots here. And so I thought, this is the map that more than any is going to have those opportunities for both of the teams. And that's why we decided that we were going to completely forgo that strategy and go hard on the offense. Because I am of the personal belief that if you set up a defensive position, you create an opportunity for the opponent to analyze its defensive position and find the weakness in that defensive position. Whereas if you're on the move and you're ambiguous about your intentions going in, then you have tactical flexibility and the opponent doesn't know how to read what you're doing until you're right about to pounce. And so that was the thought we had going in. Again, you have to prepare against a team like this. They are just so good. They're the team that beat us. We'll never forget, and we always are going to take them at the height of seriousness. In the planning, almost all of my captains believed that they were going to find a defensive position in relatively the area that they ended up doing. I actually was the lone person who didn't think that was going to happen, but we planned our opening for everything. And so that opening where you kind of see us just kind of going like ambling forward, especially kind of towards that lighthouse island that was just right past the entrance into that middle of the outsidemost circle, that was us just trying to keep our options open. And then when we saw them stop and hold, that's when we decided, this was a trajectory that we did not actually prepare for. It was very much okay, this is where they went. All right, this is where we're going to snake in And then from there on out, we had the good fortune of being able to kind of be a little bit ahead of them when we all turned north, and we tried to use that to force them against that northmost corner of the big outside wall. They slipped through really smartly. That was a great escape, but it did give us some time to just tag all of their ships as they went through, and then we were able to turn when the 13 gun reappeared on the other side of that island and strike it. We struck it hard. It had to retreat. So all of these things, things went okay for us after that moment. And as long as my 13 gun is feeling healthy, I'm feeling calm. And then I can micromanage my 8 guns. And that's what we did.
I will admit, when the SCP were, I guess by the looks of it, from the positioning of Leviathans here, were forced down that tiny little island gap, the cannon explosions, they were going left, right, and center. Jackson, Icy, among just some of the kills that were sort of just being locked off there. I think Amit's ship, the very lead 8-gun, took an absolute battering on the cannons there, which basically left you have very little sort of resistance from the first 2 ships that went through the island. I suppose that's what you were sort of looking at when it came through to it, that you didn't immediately start sending some of your ships to the wall to pester or at least cover yourself, because you knew their output was diminished in that initial volley, potentially.
That's exactly right. And so, the SCP have such great cannoneers. You just have to look at the leaderboards, to see how talented their team is. Our path to victory is depriving them of the ability to shoot those cannons, right? That's how we have to win when you're fighting a team that can do what you can do to them. And so any position where we have cannon superiority, right? So that 13 gun goes through there, any position where you can bring more force to bear on their cannons, pop some of those cannons, reduce their ability to fire back, that's just tilting things slowly and grindingly in your favor over the course of the match. And it's how we had to do it, and that's what we tried.
Kieran's, any
Yes.
questions for Lemerc?
Firstly, well done, Merc. It was a fantastic game, and it was really great to watch in general. And of course, commiserations to Muffin Top and Amit, respectively. I just want to ask, at what point did you feel like this was leaning towards a Leviathan's victory? Because there was a number of opportunities, a number of points where I thought, it could go either way. But when that 13 gun appeared out that island, how quick did you reroute the team? Was that a point where you was like, this is it now, this is our chance to move in on that 13 gun?
Yeah. I started to feel fairly comfortable when I saw the 13 gun pass through the island. And then I knew, like I said, I knew that we were going to get a lot. I really wanted my guys to just slow it down, take their time, and just hit every single ship as it was about to go through that channel. And just each one in turn, take some cannons off of it, take some cannons off of it, shave some of their firing back. That's when I saw how many cannons we were getting in those moments. I realized that whatever battle came on the other side of that island, that we were going to have a pretty strong advantage. And so I was very happy about that. That's when I began to get the glimmer that we might win this. But then also, it's really when we started to put the hurt on the 13 gun and we saw it retreating. Like, that's when things really, then it was something had to go really wrong for us. Otherwise, it would probably be okay if we could kind of win a war of attrition with the 8 guns. And that's what happened next. And I don't know if you have any more questions for me. I just want to make sure before you move on to the X guys, like Muffin and Amit, I just want to say to you guys personally what a joy and an honor it is to fight against you guys, and what a great battle that was. And I truly believe both teams leave this with the ability to hold their heads incredibly high and proud for such a great fought battle. So I just want to say that. If you have more questions, it's fine, but I didn't want to let it go.
No, that was going to be at least a final question without maybe some joint ones later on. But I was going to move on to our commiserative, I suppose, challengers against what seems to be quite a dominant Leviathan season. Amit, Muffin, sorry for the loss today, but how, I agree with Lemerc here. You guys should be feeling entirely, upbeat about this victory. Well, not victory, but at least this match in its entirety. What would you say how would you guys initially thinking of the match when you came into it? What was your, obviously what Lemerc was thinking is that you guys might be having a defensive mindset. Is that the sort of thing that you guys were thinking coming into this match?
that is definitely one way to think about it. We were just kind of thinking about, well, let's get into the ring and see what they're doing first, because there's a lot of angles on this map and stuff like that, and with how the neutral wind was blowing, it's like, oh well, if they go more north, we're kind of in a good spot to where we'll just try to hold map center and things like that. And when I saw them make their turn, because I was watching them from the sky, and I for what I think is I misjudged the the timing on the order to go forward, and so we didn't have a lot or the space that we kind of needed to fight it out and things like that. I let them get too close to the map middle before giving my guys the order to go forward and stuff like that. So I feel like at that point, I knew that the fight was going to be a lot harder. But in a sense, from that point, we just thought it would be a good striking point. Like once we knew where X was moving, whether they tried to keep with the wind or go, I guess, to go more north or to when they make their turn. It was just a bad uh, timing on my issue of telling my guys to go forward and stuff because I wanted to try to cross in front of them slightly. That was the original idea, but then when I saw that we are kind of losing the positioning fight, then to okay, we're gonna just fight it out on the outside of the ring. And yeah, I was constantly telling the guys, it's like with Ahmed and stuff, I was probably a lot more aggressive with them and telling them to go forward when I should have just had them set up and fight with, I guess, their strong side if they because their weak side lost cannons. But part of my thinking was like, okay, Ahmed's going to be the focus fire target, so the rest of the fleet can take out these other eights, things like that type of process. And then when Medkits was in the line of fire and things like that, same thing happens. I was telling them like, okay, well, try to get forward, become the primary target so that the rest of my ships can keep hitting the main target. So we were a lot more aggressive than probably normal, and it definitely paid. Well, it didn't pay in our favor, but it definitely paid in the sense of, well, we're going to go forward and keep fighting it and getting close.
The thing that I sort of noticed when I think the turning point that I saw in the match was when your 8 guns were slightly a little bit behind your 13 gun, and as soon as it happened, it was just like an instant click. I don't know whether Lamert can give us a little bit more insight into this, but every single gun from the Leviathan side immediately switched as soon as they saw that little 13 trying to escape through that little gap. They were not letting it go through, at least unpunished. And the cannon explosions. I was when we were watching from above, it just went. What was the sort of conversation there? Was some of your 8 guns not necessarily in it? Sort of they were just trying to like buy time, or what was it? Or was you just trying to make it so they can filter through in a nice straight line and give themselves that little bit of extra sort of breathing room, and hopefully they're just going to focus on them and not the 13.
I mean, it was really just to buy a little bit of time to let the 13 go first and get it out and be in a position to kind of support the 8s from an angle so that they can come through. So it was a little bit of timing and, positioning. I told them to try to funnel it in, but the 13 had to go first. So we probably could have been a lot more tight of a line, but it's just kind of how it goes.
The other thing about that is if you're going to do that, you don't necessarily want your 13 gun going through last, because
True.
then they lose a lot of their ability to be defended by the 8 guns. Although if they go through like third or second, I mean that's fine too. Perhaps what we should have done is maybe have my ship move up closer to the island, block some of those shots, and hopefully the 13 gun wouldn't would not hit my sails or my mast as they do that. But um, just given that we wanted everybody to move through, it wouldn't really work out that way, because then my ship would be offset and not able to reposition into the gap. There's a bunch of little factors there, so we just elected to keep all cannons possible continuously firing and have them go through, and set up early for the rest of us to come in there.
And I will say, sort of from the match itself, no matter what was happening, you guys, your crew didn't seem to want to give up. It was a back and forth, and I think the highlight I think that you guys can at least take away from this match is that when left to their own devices, your gunboats today really sort of gave the Leviathans ones a good run for their money. I think they killed both of them, if I'm not mistaken, and forced them on a respawn there. So if
Yeah,
there
but
was at
then they
least a
got one
silver
of the
lining,
8.
Yeah,
yes, they
I'd
did.
like to
Wow.
say that
Yeah.
I had to divert an entire Acon just to deal with them after they
Yeah.
beat our gunboats. It was very impressive.
So I think I saw Treehouse have to go there. The poor Treehouse.
That's right.
He's always the one that's been left to do the dirty job.
My sacrificial lamb there.
Hey, he wasn't sent alone. He was given a gunboat to assist him. So
Yes,
Lermark
I
takes
believe
care
they
of his
were coming
people.
back in. To be fair, so but yes, that was very interesting. Yeah, so in terms of that, absolutely. So credit where credit's due for your crews there on the gunboats, making sure that they had a lot of problems causing for the Leviathan's gunboats there. I'm sure Gunnar would have at least liked to have this match when he's in the arena a little bit easier for him in that case. I'm just going to say from my perspective, thanks both teams. I don't know if I've got any questions left, so I might give it back over to Kieran in a minute. But to both teams, what a grand final we had put on there. And I think the people at home are going to be excited to watch that one back, because just watching it from the sky, I was giddy just commentating it. So hopefully the actual the feed is not too harsh going back to watching it. But just what a fantastic end to an already great NSL season, and I hope at least both teams, being where you guys are in terms of this match, are both very happy. Maybe obviously in the case of the SCP, you would have liked to have got the win over Leviathans, absolutely, but you can't deny that you've had an exceptional opportunity, exceptional run up to the finals today, and only caught slightly at the last hurdle. So to both teams, big pats on the back from me at least. In the commentary booth, it was fantastic to watch this match and the evolution of both teams, but most importantly, the SCP this season. Coming into it. So great job. Kieran, do you have anything for these two lovely, for anyone, but hopefully for Amit and for Muffin Top here?
I guess you did answer a lot of the questions I was going to ask anyway, but I want to know if you could do a rematch, the very same format, the same map, same win, same team. What would you change? What would be one of the big significant changes that you would make? That's to either Muffin or Amit.
For my side, I would have just called them forward to basically done what X had done, just in reverse, like skim that inner ring, have my 13 on the outer. Just called it a few seconds closer for when they did their turn to do the fight, because I think everything else was fine.
Yeah, and I think Percy at the time we've dubbed them the sub islands and the sub islands. So
Yes.
I guess I also want to take this opportunity to sort of segue onto the plans for the next season, and maybe Lemert can sort of pitch in on this as well. What can we see? What can we expect? Can we give the viewers some more excitement about next season and what it entails?
Yes, absolutely. Let me put my NSL commissioner's hat on here and and talk for a minute about next season. So here are I have to be careful because I kind of like I know a few more things than I can say, but I could say a lot. And I actually kind of have a list because I thought, well, especially last week, I thought we would have tons of time between matches and I'd have to talk and talk and talk, but I never got to talk about any of these things. So let me see if I can.
Hang on. Well, I was going to say I could make it easier for you if you don't want to worry about any sort of legal obligations you might have. I could just ask you some things, and you can say yes or no.
let me. I do have a list of approved talking points that I can talk about that have been revealed to the community at large. First off, we all know a new ship is coming. I can tell you that unless there's something horrible with that new ship when it comes in, like it's buggy or something, it's going to be in next season. I can't tell you much about it, but I can tell you that it is going to be there, and that the likelihood is that it is going to, well, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not gonna say how it's going to be incorporated, but it is going to be incorporated, I think, in a special way.
Okay.
Of course, the new faction, the pirates. We'll see if we put that in. But there will be cannon repairing next season. So cannon repairs are going to be a big, huge, huge part of the meta as it's going to unfold. There will be the idea of being able to repair things on your ship. That's going to be huge. There's going to be enhanced mechanics around the boarding. That's going to be really interesting. Boarding, we're going to try and balance it as best we can. At the end of the day, what we're going to be looking for is to make sure that that neither boarding nor cannoneering is like an absolutely unassailable strategy that can't be beat by the other. So we don't want to tilt it too much towards like boarding actions can just like destroy a team, nor do we want it to be that boarding actions are completely fruitless. I want it to be a part of the next season in
Just
a
try
little
to
bit more
nerf
of a
the
way.
jackals, why don't you?
No. My intention is to make it easier than it was this season. Definitely don't want to nerf the jackals because I kind of love what they do. We do know the biggest change, I think, numerically, is that console players are going to be in the league, and that is going to allow. We already have, I believe, 8 confirmed teams. I think we could possibly get up to 10 teams next season. So right now we have 6. So we definitely are going to have 2 more teams, and this is with some teams probably not coming back next season. But certainly I believe we are at 8 teams at the moment. So it's going to be more teams, and some of those new teams are going to be made almost entirely of console players. So that's going to be really fun. And there are going to be extra mechanics. Now, what's likely going to happen? This is just to get it. We don't know how all these things are going to be implemented, and they said that it's going to be a quarter one release next year, which means it's going to be very close to the start time of the league. Like they're going to drop this update, and we're going to have the league coming within probably a few weeks, right? How many weeks that is, I don't know, but so there may be a 2-month pad period where maybe we'll implement some things. We got to check and make sure that these are all working correctly and they don't need post-release hot fixes or whatever. And then after a few battles, we're going to come back in together all the admirals, and we're going to talk. Okay, we've seen in some of our weekly events, we've seen in the NSL how these things are fitting into Naval as we know it now. Do we want to change anything? So that's going to be a very transparent process that we're going to have with all the Admiralty to make sure that whatever we do implement that is coming in this expansion is going to be balanced and fair for everybody. So that's something that we're going to be doing, just because I don't think we're going to have enough time to truly play test everything before we start implementing something. So it might be like we implement a few things we're sure about, and then a few months in we implement a few things more. That would be my understanding. So there will be kind of a meta shift early in the season. And we're looking to have a slightly shorter season next year. I know that was a big thing. Everybody's going to like having a little bit more, like a more condensed season. The likelihood is most teams are only going to play each other one time. And that's probably where we're going. And we'll see what that looks like on a calendar. And again, we'll talk with the Admirals. That's what I can tell you right now. A lot of stuff coming. A lot of cool stuff coming. A lot of stuff I wish I could talk to you about. But it's going to be a tremendous next season. Bigger, better, bolder in every way. I can't wait.
Wow. I mean, just hearing that in itself is exciting for how the league is going to change and pan out, hopefully. I think the main thing that I'm looking at is not just all these wonderful updates, but potentially just seeing what everyone's going to cook up, because I know a lot of people and a lot of their plans and teams are going to be very different. I hope to see, hopefully the Jackals are either going to figure out, they're either going to learn to repair their cannons or keep boarding with their beaver mentality. I don't know. I don't want to lose that identity that they've grown over the season. And if they do, I'm going to be a little bit upset about it. But at the same time,
I think the changes are going to enhance that for them. I think it's going to make it a more viable play strategy. That's my goal.
yeah, hopefully. And I think Paxis might be very annoyed if you make him stay on the carpenter rolls to make sure your cannons are all alive as well. So we'll see how that goes. But
yeah, I don't think that's too much of a thing to worry about, by the way. But I can't speak about it. It shouldn't be too much of a thing to worry about.
Okay,
that
interesting.
carpenters are going to get pigeonholed into purely repair. I don't see that. Just from what I know, that should not be a problem, but we'll see.
So I guess just from my position, obviously, I'm going to pass it over to Muffin and Amit. Hearing what you've just heard from Lemerck about this, I'm not asking whether you've got any ideas for what you might change up from this season to next season, but you got anything sneaky you might want to come up with? You guys have made probably the biggest improvement of any team so far that has entered the NSL Coliseum. Anything you've heard so far that's going to be incredibly exciting for you guys that you want to have a look at?
I mean, I was at the beta test for the Scottish update that's coming this week, and AGS revealed some interesting things about Naval that are obviously, privy to a lot of us now, but the X will actually have more information. So there were some things I heard there that were very maybe curious about how they'd be implemented into the next season. Lemerck has already spoken about a couple of those things. Very excited, but the reason I'm telling you this is because I heard so much there that it feels like there may be portions of our fleet that, or our member base, that we may need to even organize a little bit more to adjust to these kind of new things that are bound to breed new strategy, new tactics. And I'm sure Muffin Top and Dan Frank and all of our Mika and our primary strategists are going to have such a fun time coming up with new scenarios. I mean, that's not to take away from the rest of the captains who will often do that as well. But it's very exciting what I've heard so far. As for being sneaky, well, we wouldn't be sneaky if we told you what we were going to be doing, Percy.
I gotta try. Come on, like I've languished in. I didn't even get to this grand finals. You gotta give me something.
Well,
No,
Listen,
obviously I'm
Percy,
not gonna
listen.
press you for it, but
If I have the capability to raise my flag on the entire enemy team's fleet, then I will try to do that.
specify which flag that is, not the white flag, hopefully.
It doesn't matter.
On my
Well,
flag.
hopefully not the white flag.
The white flag, and then we start shooting.
Pirate
and
way.
then, well, yes, or the King's Royal Navy's way. Who knows?
Mhm.
Back in history, we saw plenty of ships get taken over. So we'll see
Look-
how that ends up. One thing I do want to ask, I think we've got one of the league's biggest wild cards here with the Marines, and Kieran's here. Kieran's, from
Yeah.
what you've just heard, you have shown probably the most tactical diversity of any admiral in the entire league, and I'm putting in the SCP. I'm putting in the the Jackals here. The complete unpredictability of what the Marines are going to do. Hearing what you've just heard, a shake up to the meta, something maybe you guys have found a little bit difficult with what you guys like to do, which is to get in there, get in people's faces. Can we see some fun things planned once you start to get these updates in your hands?
I think so, yeah, and I'm always willing to try something new in terms of our tactics and just sort of putting on a show. But ultimately, next season we are trying to lock in. That doesn't mean we're going to play any passively or anything like that. Our plan will always be balls to the wall, but we're going to have some better gunners. We're going to have some better captains, and I keep saying it as humbly as I can, but we're really aiming for top 3 next season. And
Wow.
yeah, yeah, I know it sounds really weird coming
Well,
from a team that's very, very bottom.
I won't count you out of it because, as Lemerck was saying, there's potentially 10 teams next season, potentially. So there's always opportunities to pick up more matches and more points. So you never know what the next season's going to bring. So in that regard, I'm just excited for that as I am for this season. But I will say, folks, that is what we've got time for today. It's been a long couple of hours, and it has certainly been what I would call, a grand finals to remember, not just for the lower bracket, but for the upper bracket and vice versa. So, thank you. I'm just going to put a thank you out there to everybody who has put on this league, whether you have been someone who has come in and give your time for the camera angles, if you've come in to give your time as an arena manager, if you have come in and organized the league like so many others, just to name a few, Doctor, Atticus, Eggs for the graphics, Gunner for being just amazing in terms of organizing the arena stuff, the mercenaries, You've got the likes of obviously yourself, Lemerck, for not just being the person with the idea to bring this on, but the crew to bring it together. You've got all the people that have just made it possible. The likes of the SCP, the 77th, the First RM, all of those who have come in to sort of give a helping hand. I probably missed off a few people already, and I hope I don't already. But just some people who have come in to just help manage and give the Leviathans a chance when they've had to play to come in and give everyone the opportunity to see a match while the Leviathans are also playing as well, because that's not easy.
It's almost impossible to thank everybody who's coordinated and helped with all this,
Absolutely.
because there are so many of them. I want to put out a special thank you to Dan Frank, who was like, without him, we wouldn't have a server. And so there's been some server craziness recently
Yes.
post the Halloween update, and so we really couldn't have done it without them and helping us out with their servers. That's what we played on today. So thanks, guys, from the VOC, for helping us out with that.
I do have a question for you, Lemerck, and you're going to may look at it and it's going to sound a bit. Does that mean Dan Frank is officially not a new kid on the block anymore?
Oh no! I mean, come on.
He's been upgraded. Dan has been upgraded. What would we
No
gonna call
way.
Dan right now? He's been the running joke that Dan has been the new boy in the block, still being in the top 3, top 4, top 5 around those areas. What's he been upgraded to?
He's just. I mean, I think just about everybody in this call could be called a pillar of the naval community, and I definitely think Dan is a pillar of the naval community.
Well,
you
there we
guys
go.
hold it up. Running events like you guys do, Krakens, the KRN runs events, VOC runs events, we run events. So there's that weekly ability to play. Then we've got guys who are running these NSL teams. Like, let's call it what it is. This NSL is a humongous portion of the naval community here. These are the tryhards, the diehards of the naval community. So this is it. We're it. Come join us. Anybody who's listening, come join us. We want you next
Absolutely.
season.
We want to see as many people as we can, and I'm excited to see it expand, maybe from 6 to 8, 6 to 10, who knows. And to any one of those who may have fallen off the wayside and may not be coming back, just know that if there's an opportunity for you to come and work, please do, because even if you don't have a team and you just want to get involved because you've seen the game online through a clip or a short or on YouTube, or you're in the holdfast scene but you don't have anyone that you necessarily want to come and play, you can come and play even if you're not with a team. So just get involved. It's a great bit of fun. It's an hour every Sunday, and even if you can't make it once, you'll still come back and hopefully enjoy it again.
Just real quick, I'm just LEMERC on Discord. If you have any questions, anybody out there in the community, somebody who's never played Holdfast before, somebody who's just watching and is interested in getting, I will personally help you get into the league. Contact me anytime. I would love to hear from you.
And with that, folks, on that dramatic last bombshell, we are going to close off the end to an absolutely wonderful, wonderful end to the season. So, from everyone here, from behind the scenes, to everyone who's brought it to your house, and for all those players that have played, thank you, every single person who has in any way, shape, or form participated in this league this season, from myself at the Krakens, to Leviathans and Lemerck, to the SCP, to the Marines, to the wonderful, as we saw earlier, the Rollback Fleet and the Jackals. I thank every single person that has played for any of you for coming and playing this season. And with that in mind, that's us signing off. I've been Percy, you've had Kieran's, and that's that, folks. Catch you next season, folks. Have good fun, and have a Merry, Merry Christmas or whatever you celebrate over these holidays. Thank you.